Hey guys, welcome back to Angel Angela, and as you guys can see by the topic, I am going to talk about how the narcissistic people in your life, they have not changed. The narcissistic people in your life have not changed, and I also want to talk about taking accountability and also, you know, when someone apologizes, right? Narcissists, they don't apologize for what they do. A lot of people sometimes do fake, they apologize and it's fake, and obviously they don't mean it. They do it for their own convenience to look good in front of people and things like that. But there are times, excuse me, there are times where narcissistic people will apologize to you because they don't like the way they feel inside. They don't like the situation at hand, or supply has been cut off from them, and they realize, that supply, those people in their life played a big role. Or they might feel like they might feel disconnected because they thought to themselves, I'm gonna go and build this new reality, and after a while it's not what they think it was gonna give, or they see that things were better, or things could have been better in their past situation, or around the people they were around, right? Even with family, sometimes you'll feel like you want to go back to family because you got to deal with narcissistic people out in the world, in the real world, and you got people that will go back to their families, and they felt like their families were narcissists, racist, evil, wicked people, and then they go back and you're viewing them like, what's going on? And it's because that person, that person has been indoctrinated. So it's like going to a church or going somewhere where it's going to make you feel better. It's going to give you some type of peace because these people have been controlling you for so long that when you're not under their control, you almost can't function in society the same way. It's like having a dog or a cat, and then you just let them out into the street, and they lived a certain lifestyle, they did certain things, family, maybe they're a family person, and now after a while, or months or years, that you'll see certain people that will even come to you, and then they'll bash you, and then they'll leave back with narcissistic people, right? They go back into these toxic relationships or go back into toxic family, and you're still standing firm, but they just can't handle it. And sometimes you can start looking at those people like they're narcissists, but the reality is that some of those people, they can't function without these people. Like, you almost have to accept that you can't force people to change or to do certain things because you feel like it's the right thing for them to do. It's like telling your parent, oh, divorce my dad, divorce my mom, but they're thinking like, how am I going to live? How am I going to survive? Or they know, or you're trying to tell them, you could just start all over. You could just do these things. Some people are afraid. Some people are comfortable. So you start to think that certain narcissistic people get away and they're happy. And that's not always the point. That's not always the truth. And you're looking for them to have karma, or you're expecting them to feel like because they're going through it, right? They're getting their karma in different ways. They don't have the same type of supply. That they tried to break you to achieve their dreams, and their dreams didn't even end up happening, right? The way they thought it was going to play out. And you were trying to tell them, right? You were giving them options. You were trying to tell them, like, things aren't the way it seems, right? Because they were all in their magical thinking. Your siblings or whatnot, they didn't respect you. They thought, oh, I know more. They start feeling like they're in control, and they feel like, oh, I'm smarter than you. They start competing with you, or they might look down on you because you've went through certain failures in life that they might have not went through, or you made certain bad choices, or you were in bad relationships. So they might look at it as weakness, and you've already lived life in a way that they haven't. So you already know, hey, this is all we have is each other, right? But they'll go against you. They'll treat their friends better than you. They'll treat, strangers. They'll go talk to family members that you don't get along with, and you'll even tell them, like, the same type of respect you have for them, you should have it for your immediate family, right? Things like that, right? Or people just separating each other based on status and things like that. So you start to see different behaviors, patterns out in the world that you see even in family. So you almost start to see that, there's these same characteristics out in the world, and you think about a time where you didn't view these people like that. They were like angels. The devil was once an angel. The people that betray you at some point in time, you thought they were perfect. You thought they were good, right? I used to think my grandmother, right? And I still look up to her in many ways, and her strengths, and I respect her just for her age and really pushing. So as an empath, you see the good qualities. You can give people their credit for the things, the roles they played, the lessons you learned from them. You can give people their credit, and to the point that you can love these people enough to forgive them, right? That's why you forgive the narcissist. When you're in relationships with the narcissist, you forgive them a lot of times, right? So when your family, your friends, and people villainize you, they don't think about all the times you let a lot of things slide just because they're family, in a way that you wouldn't with anyone else, right? So when you start to see, like I said with my grandmother, as soon as I was in this long-term relationship with the narcissist, because I came from a family where everyone is married but my mother, right? Everyone in my family, my grandmother had 7 kids. All her kids are married except for my mother. She had children, didn't get married, single parent, right? So I felt like I was living a different reality from everyone else. It wasn't like I felt like I missed having a father around, because I had my grandfather, and I think that made me feel complete until he passed away. And and I'm just sharing this with you guys just to show you, like, these people, they don't change. They're really prideful people. And a lot of people think, narcissists are just physically and verbally abusive, but I come from a family where people aren't cursing each other out. People aren't, the narcissism it happens in a very different way, where they say mean things about you, but it's looked at as, they're just giving you advice or giving you a favor, and they'll keep saying remarks over and over again, gossiping, having secret meetings on top of secret meetings, and Basically it's like this control where if you don't do the things that they expect of you, then either don't come around until you fix these things that we don't like, or people that we don't like that you're around. Because to them it's like they're trying to protect their energy from outsiders. So to them it's like, you know, anyone that you pick is not going to be good enough, right? And a lot of times, based off of what I realize is that based off of my mother's reality, they tried to project that onto me. They did a lot of the same things they did to her. And when I look, you know, at her pictures, and even when I talk to certain people, they would say, out of all the sisters, you know, your mom was the most beautiful, and because of her dimples and her smile. And I think to myself, right, because narcissists, right, they'll attack you for just being attractive, right? Just for being attractive. So you got narcissists who are attractive, who they almost feel like they became evil or they became mean because people expected them to be mean, or because people assume that their life is better or things are going good. There's this jealousy, they're getting more opportunities, right? So they feel hate, they feel jealousy from people, right? But my mother was never that way. She's very kind, right? And because she didn't listen, you know, they labeled her crazy. So I feel like all these ugly ducklings, you know, tried to redirect her. They didn't try, but they did redirect her destiny. And then after she made all the choices that she made, they became the saviors. And then they projected that behavior, the control, onto me, to the point where, you know, now my mom's on medication. Now she went from modeling to being a nurse, and now she's like on meds and can't work and got children, right? And we're not being given the opportunities that other people are given. So when myself, when I work hard for these things and get a scholarship, these people are trying to sabotage me, right? You're trying to bring me down. And I'm like, that's crazy, you know, because I have to work harder than everyone else. I don't have, you know, my mother doesn't have, you know, money to put us in activities or to help us, you know, to get an instructor or anything like that, right? We don't have the same opportunities. And, you know, even with my siblings, one of my brothers, he plays the guitar, right? And I feel like that's what made me and my siblings, everyone, so consumed with themselves because of poverty. But at the same time, being around people, you know, family who have more, and there was never any jealousy, right? It's like you don't even realize you're the target of the family, because you have so much love for people, right? So when they say things or they make remarks or they make jokes, it's funny. You don't take it personal, right? When they assume things about you, you don't take it personal because you're forgiving. You let things slide over and over again. So even with my brother, it's like he taught himself how to play the guitar. My mom couldn't afford to do guitar lessons, so he had like a guitar toy that had music on it, and he went and bought a music book and he taught himself how to play really, really good, right? So I feel like we all had different talents, but, you know, we didn't have anyone to give us that extra push. So I feel like I was consumed with my own life and with my own dreams, and I think we all were, and we didn't really get to spend time as siblings knowing each other. So when everyone starts going through stressors in their life and they feel like they don't have a father to talk to, they can't even talk to their own mother because she's on medication. So I feel like I always try to play that role, like not just a sister, but a motherly role, where it's like I'm making breakfast, I'm doing things, I'm walking my brother to his class. I always felt like I had to kind of take that control, but that's the same thing that I almost felt like they projected anger onto me, because they felt like, why are you saying something to me, right? Like, you're not my mom. How kids are, like, you're not my mom. But you're seeing the direction everyone is taking. So then the moment you focus on yourself, they all attack you, because they feel like you're the only one that's going to get out. Even though you were there defending them, even when they were wrong, because you understood, like, you understood them. You saw them grow up. You understand their pain. You understand the way they think, And this is how a lot of narcissist people can be created, and they don't learn certain lessons, or they play the victim, right? They go around telling stories about their childhood and stuff, and I've seen it. I've seen people I grew up with. I've seen people around me. I've seen people, where it's like, they have everything. I know family and people who they have everything, right? And they can't put themselves in my shoes at all, but I could put myself in their shoes. I could understand them. I could understand why they can't understand me, right? But they are so consumed with themselves and their traumas, when in your case, you had times where your parent couldn't even feed you. They could barely feed you. We're having beans for dinner while your parents are ordering pizza. You know what I'm saying? So these people will experience the same rejection in their narcissistic families, the coldness, right? That coldness, that disconnection even with their own parents. But they're so consumed with that hate that they have right there, and they'll come back to the source. They'll come to you because they know you're a good person. You're wondering, why are people, who have wronged me now coming to me like they're victims, right? I got cousins that I stood up for. I had a cousin who, my family is like really religious. I've said that many times. My grandmother's Catholic. She's very known in the Catholic community. She's got she got awards on her wall from the Pope, so she's up there. She gives back money to the community and things like that, and she made as an immigrant, she made a lot of investments back in the day, right? And then she made sure her whole family, everyone had something going on, at least, right? So I give her much respect for that. But she did not teach her kids how to love, and she even has told people that, she's told people that, like, she went through so much, she couldn't feel emotions. She was just doing what she thought she had to do to survive, to the point where it's like people broke her heart, and then she only was thinking about herself. Oh, I can get married with this person got enough money to take care of me and my parents. But I'm also gonna add to his life, because he's also, she's also very ambitious and had energy, right, to get out of the circumstances. So she made a lot of investments that also helped, my grandfather. And, she came from a house, she lived in a ranch, and, that's how they made their money, and, they breeded horses and things like that. So her father was really abusive. She said her father used to hit her mother, and she said she would cry for hours, she would be scared, and that eventually he started hitting her too. And at an old age, she took care of her father. He lived with my grandparents and all the kids, and he would like walk around the neighborhood picking up cans to make money, but he had somewhere to live. She took care of him. He had something to eat. But she said she grew up like feeling like she couldn't feel emotions, and she had to put her emotions to the side for everything. And her thing was just doing her best, providing, taking care of her father, even though he abused her. I mean, her mother went through what she went through. Her whole thing was forgiveness, right? So I always looked at her like an angel. I always looked up to her because she could forgive people that sued her, that took her to court for money, knowing that she got money, so they're playing games with her. So, and she's someone that didn't give in to negativity until she finally cracked. And when she cracked, she went to court, people suing her for money or whatever, and she prayed for that person at court. She asked that person, to pray, and just she said no matter how, she said this lady really, really made me angry. And she was shocked that she had to pay this money, but she said that as angry, as much hate as she felt, that she was going to pray for her. She's like, no one else has ever made me feel this type of rage, where, that type of rage where you just lose it. You can't even help trying to be nice to someone. And she's like, I'm gonna just pray for her. And she's like, I got to see her at church every Sunday. And that's like, that's like where she goes for peace. So she had to battle them demons at church, So when I started to see that she couldn't see my reality, and she couldn't understand my reality. She couldn't understand that the times have changed. Like times really change, and some of the advice she gave me, a lot of it was good, but some of it is like, it's like they, for every generation, time is changing, right? And certain things you just can't do them the same. So she was stuck in her old ways, and with her, it's like if you don't do as she says, she's like, she'll support your dreams, she'll do whatever you want financially, but if you don't do what she says, when she says, it's over for you, right? I felt like I did everything, but the relationship with the narcissist, that's where she was gone. She's like, I don't got control over you, right? So my family has this thing where it's like, you don't do what they tell you, they're gone. And my cousin, he ended up going to he left the Catholic Church. So when he left, and before he left the Catholic Church, my grandmother was trying to help him be a priest because she has connections. She's like, you could be a priest, and I think they used to have conversations thinking, or I don't know if he's gay. I've never asked him. He's gave me the vibes. Me and him are close. He knows I won't judge, but if he is, he's never told me. I don't think he is. I think maybe they just say that because they've never seen him with a girl. I think they just say that. I never said that. I never thought these things. Those things didn't come to mind, but they said things like that, like, he needs to pray, he needs to go to church, he needs to be a pastor, just give your life. Basically, if you're going to be gay, just give your life to God. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to go to hell. So when I started feeling like they would talk about people in a way where it's like you're telling people they're going to go to hell and things like that, it's like, that's where I felt like that's where the image of her, this image that I had made up in my head about her, started crumbling. And now I started paying closer attention to her. So I felt bad because, my cousin, no one was talking to him in the family. So I decided to leave the church and be around my cousin. I started going to church with him because I wanted to be there for him genuinely, right? And that led me to bring my family to church. So now they're pissed because now I'm bringing my mom, I'm bringing my siblings, and they're like, that's a false church. It's just a whole bunch of stuff going on. And now they're kind of like, you're not family anymore. How can you tell someone you're not family just because now you don't want to go to the same church? So I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I'm just processing like the process thought of narcissists, because not all narcissists, like I said, not all narcissists are the same. They're different in different ways. They look like regular people. They are regular people. Your friends, your family. It's people, we all go through trauma, right? But it's people who are so consumed with themselves and control. That's what makes them different. But a lot of times, if they're not doing anything to you, you will know that they're a narcissist. Some narcissists, you'll actually look up to them. I'm telling you, because I've seen hundreds of people, go and ask my grandmother for prayers, and and like I said, she even used me as a prop as a kid. When you go places and people are trying to sell you something and they got kids and they'll use anybody, right? So I was used as a prop because people were like, who's this little girl? And she's out there, she's out there in the community and leading prayer and doing all type of things, reading Bible scriptures out loud. And she had me very well trained. That's all I did. All I did was church and train, and and as I got older, I started to see how people are hypocrites, and that's what I called her. I called her a hypocrite, and that's where I could tell she turned, and she turned on me because I didn't want to go to church. So I think my rebellion with going to church with my cousin, that's where I became like rebellious, like screw everyone. That was like the beginning stages. But it didn't process in my mind that leaving would be starting a new life, being away from everything I know. And I didn't think it would ever affect me. At the time, I didn't think it was going to affect me, So when things are happening, you're not thinking certain things are going to be effective or are going to affect you. Or you feel like certain people just be in your life, or you'll feel like eventually they'll calm down and realize and take accountability, right? But they don't change. That's why I said narcissists, they don't change. They're stuck in their ways. And what's crazy is that you'll be the bigger person, right? And even go back to church with them. I even tried going back. It wasn't the same. They already felt like, nope, you left, you're out. There's no second chances in the Volturi. like in the movie Twilight. It's like, no second chances in the Volturi. But that's how it is. So I'm going to church with my cousin. He's older than me at the time, right? Now I got my family going. My brother, one of my brothers, he started kind of like, he was kind of getting involved with gangs and stuff, and he's young. He's my younger brother. So to me, I never told him to stop or not do it, because I looked at it like, these are people that I go to school with, people in the neighborhood. Like I said, I was like in a different reality, but I was like in the middle, because at the same time, I got family, I got people with connection. So it's like I was linked. So that life didn't really seem like anything, right? Until you're cut off, and it's like, no, I'm gonna let you see who you really are. I'm gonna let y'all see, all of y'all see who y'all really are, right? But to us, we didn't care because we had each other. And I felt like when we started going to church, that was the time in my life where none of my siblings were consumed with their guitar and their band that they had, or their friends who are out selling drugs, or whatever the case is. And I'm just being honest, because it's my reality. Everyone has different realities, but I never fit into being around low vibrational people. That was never my thing. It just never felt right, because I got to see good things. So this is why I say I appreciate my grandma, because she allowed me to see a different life, right? So you can learn things from narcissists, but at the end of the day, they're gonna let you know that they come first in their reality. And if in their reality they believe in something, even if they know it's not true, but it brings them peace, they have recognition, they got awards on the fucking wall. Every time that you come in, they want you to see that big ass fucking certificate, it shit, diploma, freaking degree. They want you to see what they've done, because not all narcissists are, low grade narcissists. Because they play the game very differently. It's more like cold, like they're more military minded, right? They need the control over every person in the family. It's like they're characters to them, and they're just moving them around, right? And in their mind, it's like, they feel like, because they're the master manipulators, they feel like they're doing all the work. They feel like they're the brains to the operation. They feel like you're gonna make the whole team go down, so they got to get you out. But sometimes letting you go is where they start to crumble. If you notice, that's where they start to crumble, when they start fucking with people. Because once you leave, they need somebody else. And then now their empire starts destroying, because those people are running, telling other people their story. And now everyone is watching and keeping up. People are playing both sides. If you notice, when arguments or things are happening, and people are gossiping with one another, people are acting weird. You go tell somebody that a mutual, from what I've seen, I haven't done it, but I've seen people who, like, when they barely leave the narcissist, right, and you go tell somebody else. I had to deal with it by myself, but most people, they need someone to talk to, so they go and tell someone else, and they share their story with that person. And if that person might be someone who also was affected by the narcissist, or they might be someone who you feel like you get along with, and the narcissist is going to try to indoctrinate and turn that person against you. So you go and talk to them, and now that person goes back and tells the narcissist what you said, and now they're playing both parts. They're like, I can't get in the middle, but they're going back and forth. They're like, don't tell that person I said this, but they feel an obligation to the narcissist, right? So that's letting you know that person's character. They're not on either side. They just like the entertainment. Most people, when you're going through narcissist abuse, most people around you are going to be around for the entertainment. They might even be nice to you. They might even look out for you. And then you're going to feel like you owe these people the whole world. But it's manipulation, because to them it's like, okay, the narcissist was feeding off of you. Now you're at your weakest. You're going to be grateful, thankful for me. And you're going to start, when you start feeling better, you're going to start rewarding me. You got people that really think like that. Or even if they're narcissists, sometimes they're not even thinking it. That's just how they automatically expect things to go, which is kind of crazy, right? So they don't really change. This is that behavior that they've been doing for a very long time. So because they don't want to change, because they're stuck in their way, because they don't want to take accountability, that pyramid will keep breaking down over time. And you already see things coming. You know what's going to happen to them. You know who's you already see it coming. You see the behaviors. You see the look in people's eyes. You see how they downplayed you, the same people downplayed your parent for being a single parent, and then you see these people get a divorce, and now they can't handle the divorce. But guess what? This, if you can't handle that, imagine how you judge the person that was doing it on their own, right? You can't handle that. You losing your mind. But you see these things coming for these people. You're like, they try to act like they're so perfect. They try to act like they're so much better because what they have, that's crazy. When everybody bleeds the same, everyone, hurts. The narcissist hurts. This is the thing. People act like narcissist people are like, they don't hurt and they're just so confident. And no, they hurt too. But when they hurt, their stories are different from your reality. Their reality is different. They're like, oh, I'm the victim and I can't put myself in other people's shoes. Me. My trauma was worse than yours. You could grow up in the same household with these people and they'll act like their childhood was worse than yours, right? And they might even be jealous because they might think, oh, well, you're a girl, you were getting treated different. Well, you were a baby boy, you were being treated different too. It's just that's the illusion that you made up in your mind because you never even got to know me. A lot of these people, family, friends, you didn't even really get to know them. Your siblings were in their fucking bedrooms all the damn time on their phones with their friends playing video games. You never even got to know them. They didn't want to get to know you. They felt like, that's my brother. Like you're a fucking stranger. That's my sister. Like you're a stranger. They just assume they know you. Oh, it's my sister. But they never really get to know you. They don't care about how you feel. They'll judge you because they feel like they're the next coming up. They'll say things, right? So they don't change. You think that because they think of you, they do think of you. They think about the past a lot, just like the empath. You reminisce a lot. I seen that in my grandmother, where she just be in deep thought every single day, and I never understood it until now, where I'm always in deep thought by myself, thinking about things. And first you feel rage, you're angry, you're upset, you want to be heard, and then eventually you actually feel bad for these people, and you've always felt bad for them. But they just never felt bad for you, and that's what hurt you the most. And even if they were to feel bad, their pride is like, I won't apologize to you. I didn't do nothing wrong. They want to keep lying to themselves because they've already made up stories. They've already brainwashed people with the same stories they repeated about their life. So they can't go back from what they said. So they're in agony because they know they can't go back. So they're like, well, I gotta stick to the plan. I promised myself in the beginning, because I had such a fucked up life, I promised myself I was always gonna put myself first. So that's what I'm doing. So they're talking just like you, just like how you say, oh, after narcissist abuse, I gotta put myself first. So when these people come into your life and then you do talk to them again, even like the narcissist, they'll, that you're in a relationship with, they'll talk like they are the ones who keep being wrong and deceived, or they're mad, like, oh, things aren't going my way, or oh, it's demon time now. Now I'm really on my own. Now I'm really like, they create their own demise and then they get mad. They get enraged, right? And even when they tell themselves that what they did was wrong, and they take accountability and they realize what they did was wrong, if people bring up your name or people say something about it, about the situation, that rage comes out of them all over again. They get mad at you, even though they told themselves right from wrong. They processed what happened. That disgust they felt for you, or that rejection, or who they believe you are, you know, your imperfections. They expect people to be perfect. All those things they'll remind themselves. So if you really pay attention, right, like with my grandmother, every time, right, people get to talking about me, these people want to keep up with you even when you're not around. They'll say, I don't know why she's not talking to me. I did this for her. They'll start saying the things that they don't change. They'll just start saying the things that they've done to you, done for you, because they're so pissed. They feel like you should just let them be themselves. I did let you be yourself. I didn't tell you to stop going to church. I didn't tell you. You kept trying to stop me and judged everything I did, right? So they'll sit there and act like you did something to them. I didn't do nothing to you. You guys gossiped about me to the point where my aunt, who went through cancer and was going through chemo, when I went to her house to go to the hospital with her so she wouldn't go alone, accused me of hitting her just because she didn't like the fact that I was like drawn to my grandmother just because I was brought up with her. She didn't like that. It's like, that's my mom. Or she tried to control me in my youth and put me in programs that my mother wasn't aware of, like sending me to boot camp, or, you know, taking me to the mental hospital when I was like 12, just like they did my mom, right? So she didn't want to take any accountability over that, and I never brought it up to her. And when I get around my aunt when she's going through chemo, when I'm an adult, right? These are things they did in my childhood. The empath is so forgiving. You don't even bring up the stuff that they did. You act like nothing happened because you look at them like, this family, I'm supposed to trust in you if I can't trust in anyone else, right? So I'm going over here with you through chemo in my adulthood. I don't have no anger towards you. But when I start to see that you're trying to switch up my plans, I'm telling you about the great things I'm doing, my future plans. I felt like I could trust in you. I'm in here with you, going, I'm with you at a time in your life where you're going through something, and, just to show you I'm here for you as family. But you don't respect me, right? So you try to change up, you try to interfere with my plans, you try to control what I'm gonna do. And who are you? Like, who are you to tell me anything, or try to attack or go to people that I've already made plans with and try to change up my plans and convince those people not to go through with things that I have planned, because you feel like that's your mother, but don't understand that our relationship is our relationship and your relationship with her. They don't know how to separate. They want to control people. So she made up a lie that when I told her that she was a hater, this is all I said to her. I said, you're a hater. She went and lied and said I hit her. And then she didn't want to take accountability. And then even when she apologized to me, she didn't want to give me a public apology in front of everybody that she done lied to, because that's where I exposed her in front of everyone for lying. I'm like, oh, she got a rumor going around, got people mad at me, got my own cousins mad at me. How you think I feel for my cousins to feel like I did something to their mother? And these are my cousins I grew up with, and we're close to age. I'm old enough to be your daughter at that point, right? So to me, it was about defaming my character. So they finally pulled me to the side, said, "Can I go talk to you outside?" They didn't want to take accountability. They went outside and said, "I should have never said that, okay? I'm sorry." But I could tell they weren't really sorry, because if they can attack you again, they will. That's the difference between the empath. When we forgive, we forgive. When we forgive the narcissist in relationships with them, we really love them. That's why we forgive them. But they look at it as weakness, because they look at it like, oh, you bowed down to me because you're scared of me, because you know I'm in control, because you know I'm in a position of power, because you know I can get in your grandmother's ear. So these people come at you full of hate just because they feel like you have better opportunities, or you got time that they don't have, or they just make up shit, fuck up your shit. Meanwhile, they got more than you, and you barely starting your life. At that moment, I was still like, barely starting my life at that moment. But this just goes to, I'm just sharing this with you because I know a lot of you probably been through this, and you're looking up to people. And then at the same time, you have to also, because sometimes you also, when you start to see the control, you might feel like rebelling against what they're telling you, but there's also some truths in it. See, the narcissist can give some truths to you, but to them it's like they have to be in a position, so they're going to give you half truths. They're not going to give it to you raw. They're only going to give you half truths so that later on they can feel like they gave you some type of hint or something. Right? They're expecting you to apologize to them, and that's what empaths do, is that you'll even reverse hoover them and apologize to them, and they're the ones that have been plotting and scheming on you. So they don't change. This person, every time people, when I finally shared to my mother the things that these people done to me, because I never told her, I never talked to my mother about it, and she questioned her sister. She's telling her, oh, I did it because I put her in boot camp because she needed discipline. But never once does she think to herself, maybe these things affected her. Especially because everyone is showing her hate, trying to control her, trying to put her in boot camp, doing all these things, but nobody is giving her love. My grandmother acknowledges that she's not a loving person, and because of that, my family is not a loving person. They're not affectionate people. Everything is really about money and status and how they look in front of people. Sorry you guys, I lost my train of thought, but with my mom, she was oblivious to a lot of these things, so she became, a little bit knowledgeable. Like I said, all she could do is basically say, okay, I was trying to discipline her or whatever. They never can take, like I said, never take accountability for their actions, even though when she was going through chemo and me and her were, having conversations about life and different things that we experienced, and she was telling me that her daughter had felt like she didn't teach her enough about men and relationships and things like that, because she had got pregnant at a young age. So she was like, sometimes I feel like a disappointment, to my daughter, and just, you know, she tells me I didn't warn her, didn't tell her certain things, and she gets mad at me, and little things like that. So it's like you can sit there and empathize with the narcissist, with narcissistic people. But this is the thing about narcissistic people. They don't seem narcissistic. Like, they don't seem, not all of them are like psychopaths, right? They are like, it's like a different type. You know what I'm saying? It's like a sneakier type. They're like sneakier. These type of narcissists, they're more sneakier, because this is the thing. When they talk to you, they feel like real people, and you put your guard down. But they don't care about you. They only care about their family, their kids, and then their kids don't even like them sometimes because they're so controlling, right? So if your own kid told you these things, and I'm telling you, bitch, you're not my mother, and you did something drastic to me because you manipulated my grandmother to do this to me when I went to go stay with her, when I could have just been at home with my fucking family. And you don't want to if you can't take accountability for your own kids. This is why I had to forgive these people, because if they can't take accountability with their own kids, how can you take these people serious? It's hard for them to change because they can't even see or understand what they're doing. And when they do understand, they're so embarrassed. They got shame. They still don't want to be wrong because it makes them feel like they're going to give you power, and power is going to be taken away from them because they're going to be seen as a perpetrator. So to them, it's like, no, I'm gonna keep standing on my lies, right? I'm gonna keep standing on these lies I've been telling, right? So to me, it's like, for someone that wasn't involved in my life to do that to me, who she's supposed to be my godmother, actually, but she's never bought me any gifts. She's never done anything for me, you know, besides probably when I was a kid, you know, probably when I was like a baby or something. But, you know, growing up, you know, she didn't invite me to Disneyland or anything, you know. So for her to do that, and when people show you hate and they don't show you love, that's what makes you feel like something's wrong here, right? When you get more hate out of love from people that you expect to be there for you. And I wasn't expecting nothing from this woman. This is just me ranting about how these people don't change, like, no accountability. After, right, I get a scholarship. Basically, I tell my other aunt, her sister, at the time, a woman had came up to me at my job, and she was basically like, oh, you know, we're hiring at the bank across the street, you know, come apply. I'm like, oh, you know, my aunt, she, you know, she basically, she basically controls, like, she works for, she manages a couple of banks or whatever. And she's like, okay, what's her name? So I tell her name. She's like, oh, okay, I know her or whatever. Small world. That's just the energy, right? I think because at the time she had a store, and I used to come help her at the store, or like because she worked at the bank, sometimes she would bring stuff. And she would be like, oh, I'll give you some money if you fill out all these little papers that I have to take for the bank tomorrow. So it'll be like little things like that. So I think that energy was just, I was getting some of her energy. I think really I think that's, in a sense, looking back now, I think it was just weird how this woman just approached me out of nowhere. She worked at the bank across the street, and she's like, you should apply. And I'm just like, my family, I got family that works there who manages a couple of them. She's like, oh yeah, I know her. Small world, right? So I basically go and talk to my aunt. I don't call her, I go and talk to her, and I'm basically telling her, I'm thinking about switching it up at that time and working at this bank. She told me to apply, telling her whatever, right? So I had a tattoo. My family don't believe in tattoos. I got a tattoo, right? But it was small. It was small, and basically she was like, "Oh, I wouldn't hire you because you got a tattoo." So this is the thing about these people. This is why I say narcissists, they're not all the same. They maneuver differently. They say things to you, and then you'll think back and you were like, I was a kid, why would she say something like that, right? So she's like, "Oh, I wouldn't hire you because of that tattoo." And things like that impact you in big ways. So when you look back, you realize these people were just saying bullshit to you all the time because they wanted to control you. So with her, right, with her, she had, like I said, her son, this is my other aunt, her son now is the one they were trying to force to be a pastor who left the church or whatever. And she got a pervert husband who used to go to his room and whack off when my cousin was at work because he was the one with the flat screen in his room. And I guess, I don't know what the hell, why he would go to his room. But basically, he's like, my dad's coming in here. He's sleeping in my bed. I don't know what he's watching on TV. I don't want him in my room. So they're fighting over that. My aunt felt like, she's a working woman. She had a lot going on. And she just broke down in tears. So the same woman that's telling me, putting shit in my ear and saying things about me, right? Then I'm wiping her tears because I feel bad that she's crying because I know she works hard. So I'm wiping her tears, trying to make her feel better. I feel like I was always empathetic to people around me. This is why I label them narcissists, because I understood their pain, but they couldn't understand mine. They just judged, right? And they never changed because they never apologized. And then to this day, they still talk shit. They might not talk shit the same way, but they basically try to act like I'm dead. Like, if we pretend that she's dead and we don't bring her name up, then we don't have to feel guilt. That's what I'm saying with narcissists. They rather act like you never existed, like you're in the past, right? But they'll think about you here and there, and they'll feel that guilt and shame, but their pride won't allow them to say anything to you because they knew they were wrong. They knew they were manipulating, but they won't take accountability. This is the crazy part. They'll keep on playing the victim. And this is what I mean with playing the victim. They won't bring you up anymore. But when people wrong them, right? The karma, when people wrong them or things are happening to them, they want people to feel sorry for them. That's why they're narcissists, because they do stuff to people and they can only think about their own problems and the shit that people do to them, and then they play the victim of, they're just getting the same energy back but through other people because they didn't respect you, so the energy comes back to them. The way they treat you, it comes back to them. And I'm telling you, proof. So I'm wiping this lady's tears. I'm talking about maybe 2 months after. She also had, at the time, my cousin was young. I'm talking about maybe my other little cousin, her youngest daughter was like maybe eight or something. And I was always, even with her daughter, she was on medication. She had her own medication. She was insecure, and she used to come home crying from school, and she used to say, "Oh, the kids bully me." So I used to go and talk to my little cousin, and I'm like, "Don't worry about those kids at school. They're just jealous of you because you're really pretty and you have pretty freckles." "Oh, they talk about my freckles." I'm like, "Your freckles are popping, girl." Like, giving her confidence to the point where, she would even come in the room, and she used to be like, she's like, "I want to be your waitress." She's like, "I'm going to make you some eggs." This is the memory I have of her. She's like, "I'm going to make you some eggs." I'm like, "Okay." And then she brings in some eggs, and they're like really yellow. And I'm like, "Why are the eggs so yellow, like almost orange?" And she's like, "'Cause they're fresh." I'm like, "What do you mean they're fresh?" She's like, "Yeah, they're from the chickens outside." And I was like, I tried to eat it. I was like, I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? But um, I had good memories with my little cousin, like funny memories like that. You know, she's older now, you know, grown woman, but um, her mother, the same person I wiped tears from, the same person who her son went to another church and everyone disowned him. So I went to be with him because first I'm there wiping her tears, wiping her daughter's tears. Now my cousin, he don't want nothing to do with the family. Everyone's treating him jacked up. Now I'm over there wiping his tears, bringing my family to church so so he could feel like he still got family. You know what I'm saying? But that also brought me closer to my siblings. Like I said, that was the only time in my life where we were all together and we actually focused on each other as siblings instead of going off into our own spaces, you know? So even though my faith in God at that time had kind of changed, and even though I felt God's love, but I didn't really believe in the church anymore. I was just going because I felt like everyone there, I could feel that a lot of people wanted to be closer to God, and I liked that feeling, and I didn't think about anything else but being around them. But that was the last time that we were together, you know. And then my cousin ended up getting attacked by the church. He felt like he was being attacked by the church, you know. So because I feel like family is first, I stood up for him. You don't want to come to this fucking church? Fuck this church. Fuck everyone in here, right? Like straight up. I'm like, let's go. Like I was that person that like I had your back. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, let's go. Let's get the hell out of here. Whatever. To the point where he was even suicidal, and he had pulled up on me one time. We were talking in the car, and he was just like telling me how he wanted to crash his car and die. And like, I'm just hugging him, wiping his tears. You know, I'm like, don't say that, just there for him. And he ended up going back to the family, right? And then he started acting weird with me. He wasn't talking to me anymore, right? He wasn't talking to me or my family anymore. And then we all stopped going to church. And then my brother went back to gangs and got deeper into it, started doing drugs because he just went crazy. He felt like he had nobody. And I couldn't focus on him because I felt like he was crazy. It's hard to focus on someone who's acting irrational and who got like anger issues, and you ain't do nothing to them, and you just as mad. I didn't ask to be in this world either. Like, you know, but that's the thing. People, especially at a young age, you only think about yourself. I feel like as you get older, you start thinking more about others. Or sometimes you're just naturally always there for people, and then you get older and you're like done trying to be there for everybody because they was never there for you. So a lot of these people, they were very immature, and a lot of these narcissists, eventually they'll start turning themselves around. That's why it seems like they're doing better with people, but it's almost like they had to sacrifice you first. They had to make you look like the bad person, or they're projecting their hate, anger, what they've been through on you because they know that only you understand them. That's why they hurt the people closest to them. And then they kind of look at you like, it's kind of like when narcissists do bad things to you, and then you kind of don't want to like bump into these people anymore. You're like avoiding certain places because you're like, I don't want to bump into these people because it triggers me. It reminds me of my past. It reminds me of what these people did to me, right? So you get triggered by being around these people, right? Even if you forgive them, you just be triggered, right? Because you know that they don't really understand the pain that it caused you. So you avoid these people. What the narcissist people do is that they avoid you too. They avoid you too. And then you'll think, oh, they're living better, they're doing better, because they've evolved. They had to use you to evolve. So I felt like my brothers, they sacrificed me. And it's like then my brother went from like being a drug addict to being a pastor. You know what I'm saying? Or like my brother went from like having a kid with someone and abandoning that kid and sleeping with a married woman. And I'm sitting here standing up for him, protecting him until he turned on me. And then he plays the victim based off of the problems he created, but then he also understands that a lot of those problems manifested because of his upbringing or trauma. So this is why when you meet these people, they'll tell you, I went through this, I went through that. They speak about their traumas, they want you to understand, but they're just a victim, right? Like they don't take no accountability, right? Where the empath is like, we could take accountability for our actions, where we know we can understand these things. We can understand the emotions, empathize with our sibling, empathize with them, understand how they might feel. Where it's like, oh, you're closer to mom because you're a girl, and I don't have anyone to, so you can understand the different cycles that a lot of narcissistic people go through, but they're deep rooted in their pain, and that's why they don't care about hurting other people. But the thing is, guess what? You feel pain too, so it's like, who wins? Who's right and who's wrong, right? You feel like they're wrong, but if you take a deeper look at these people, it makes you feel bad, but you know you can't be around them. And it makes you feel bad that you have to make that choice. And a lot of times they don't want to be around you too, because it reminds them of the last character that they had been, and the fake stories, and even though they know that a lot of that was created by them, they're angry because it just didn't turn out the way they expected it to turn out. So now they become like, they become angry, or they become angry because first everyone is on their side, and then over time people start forgiving you because they realize that there's two sides to every story. And now the narcissist has all this shame, and a part of them is still angry. And this is why I say a lot of them don't change, because they're more stuck on what you did to them. Like, this is the crazy part. They'll sit there and be stuck about what you did to them, and they don't even realize, this is how you know they're a narcissist and they haven't changed. They don't even realize all the times you forgave them, all the times you had their back. They don't even realize, like, even with my brothers, I be thinking to myself, like, when it came to birthdays and things like that, I would have got them like a cake or a basket with like candy and little things, not expensive, back in the day, like I used to get movies, like DVDs, when DVDs was popping, like I'll put a couple of DVDs, candies, little baskets, things like that. And I'm like, they never did nothing for me, ever. But I could also understand, like, some, especially, men who come from like single parent homes, like it kind of takes them a while to be givers, because they're always living in what they don't have. So they become very ambitious, and they go after people that they think they're going to be happy with, like maybe because they feel like, oh, that new supply, they have a bigger family, they think that their life is going to be better. And then they start to realize that people, they start to realize that people are consumed with themselves just as much as they are. So they feel like, oh, if everyone's consumed with themselves, I might as well keep being a con, right? So when they think about people that they've wronged, they can't take accountability, because that'll distort their whole existence. They need supply to survive. That's what they identify with. So to them, it's like, I'm not going to admit to something so I can look like the bad person, because their nature is to survive. Human nature is to survive. So they have to feed themselves whatever they can to make themselves feel like this is what's gonna, this was gonna help me survive. This is, better you than me. They're thinking about themselves. They don't see they don't acknowledge the part, where they wronged you. They'll only talk about what they did for you. They'll only talk about what you didn't do for them. They'll only talk about them not knowing what they did to you. They always say, oh, I don't know what I did to that person. I don't know why they're not talking to me. Right? So this cousin, they never stood up for me, nothing. When I stood up to my aunt and I told her, exposed her in front of my family for making up that lie, that cousin, that's not her son, that's my other aunt's son. My cousin didn't stand up for me, right? Then this aunt, when she had made up that lie, she had even sent me like a restraining order. And then she said, she was saying that I threatened her daughters, and her daughters are cops. Why would I threaten her daughters, which are my cousins, that I never had a problem with? They actually, out of all my cousins, these were cousins that I was actually closer to. So why would I do that? So to me, it's like, she crossed the line with me. Then I got family that's not defending me because they know everyone was in on it. They all knew she was lying. They all knew she was lying. I remember looking at everyone's faces when I was exposing her in front of everyone, and I was telling her to tell everyone that she lied. I'm looking at everyone's eyes. I'm looking at all my aunts. I'm looking at my uncles. And they had this look on their face like oh shit, she's standing up for herself. Because I never stood up to these people ever in my life, my whole childhood. I never stood up to these people because I treated them different from strangers and friends. I valued them more. So no one stood up for me. And I saw this look like, I think she's awake. And if she's awake, she's gonna fucking eat us up. So it was like this fear. And then one of my aunt goes, right? She goes, let's just not talk about it. Let's just not talk about it because your aunt, she's going through chemo right now. And I'm like, okay, but if she's going through chemo, why would she say something like that? Like, I'm thinking about the bigger picture. Why would someone who had a death experience sit here and lie? Why would they feel comfortable doing that when they just went through a near-death experience, right? Like, that's some cold shit, right? So, yeah. Oh, let's go outside and give you a fake apology. These people love giving fake apologies. These are different type of narcissists. Where certain narcissists, they never apologize. These are people that apologize, and they'll let you keep being around the family and circle, or you, like I say, you go back to church, but they'll never treat you the same again because they know you're not under their control, and now they're afraid of you because they still feel like they can control you. That's why they were sending them lawyers, restraining orders, and then when I started hitting them with the same shit they was hitting me with, now they made a big deal out of it. Now they're telling everyone, oh, she's put a restraining order. She sent the police to put a restraining order on me, but you did it first. And there was so many times, like I said, you let these people slide, and they're only focused. They haven't changed. They're only focused on what you did to them, and that's part of their sob story. If you notice, the narcissist has that sob story. They'll tell you, oh, this person did this to me. This person did that to me. And it's hard to tell somebody that that didn't happen to them because sometimes they have proof that something happened to them, but they won't tell you the true story behind it. And then you can't tell someone that's not true because innocent people get played all the time. Innocent people also get put in fucked up situations. So you don't know if this person's telling the truth or not. You don't know if they're really a victim or they're not. Because it seems like they are, right? But in time, you're going to see that they're more focused on themselves. A lot of times they'll be focused on the new supply because it's new. It's giving them fuel. It's like, I have someone who believes me in my traumas, and that's what's making them feel closer to you, because you believe them. They're like, oh, I finally found someone who believes me, because everybody else don't believe me no more. So they're on that high. And now it's like, why would they take accountability? They go back to that arrogance where they're not taking, they go back to who they always been, because they have an enabler. As long as narcissists have enablers, they're not going to change, straight up. As long as they have enablers. As soon as you lose everybody, like me personally, like if you're someone who has lost family, friends, if you actually been out alone in this world and had to do shit on your own, and you had to literally climb out of hell, unless you've been through that type of, most people always have a security blanket. If you've been that person that got out of a position where, you didn't have a security blanket, and you know that these people could have helped you, but they let you drown, then you just kind of view the world a little bit more differently than others who still have people around. So when you get to be alone, you start to see that the narcissists, they can't be alone. Narcissistic people, they cannot be alone. And you also know, if the narcissist can't be alone, and they can't change because people are enabling them, because that's supply, that's energy, right? Then you know they're not going to change. You should just know, if they have enablers, they're just not going to change. Something drastic has to happen. And even then, good luck. Even then, good luck. Because they might just take it out on you, because now they're mad. Now they're angry because they're like, oh, you don't know what I'm going through. All my enablers are gone. And instead, they go into full rage now. They might be nice to you at first. It might make you feel like you found a soulmate. But later on, they're going to make you pay for it. Especially if you got something they don't. They'll become jealous. They'll start wanting your life. So they don't change. So they might be, when you meet them, they might be vulnerable and shit. And you might connect to them because you feel like, oh, I've been through shit too. My family, friend, you might connect to them. But eventually, when they start abusing you, and you start telling them, hey, you said people have done this to you. Why are you treating me so bad? Now you get to see the real them. When they're angry, that's the real them. They can't even contain themselves. Some of them will just hit you, spit on you. And then if you defend yourself, they're going to say they're the victim. And they're not going to take accountability for them putting their hands on you first. It's like high school. If both parties fight, even if you're defending yourself, you're out of the game. So that's why you got to be careful with these people, because the fastest way to get killed by a narcissist is to fight with them. Because you're dealing with someone that only can see themselves, and they're not going to feel bad once the fight is over. Once they've done whatever they've done, they're not going to feel bad about it, not one bit. If anything, they're going to want to keep coming back for more and finish you off. If they're not coming back for more physically, sexually, they're going to come back for more even in the courts. They're going to keep going to court. See, there's different levels of narcissists. You got the narcissist that's like, they're going to stalk you. They're going to do low-grade things, right? Then you got the other narcissists who, they don't change. Instead, they're going to say, oh, I'm going to be smart. I'm going to go get a lawyer. I'm going to go do this. These people want to finish you off. They haven't changed. Another problem that I feel like I had as an empath is that I always, even after everything, time would go by, And I would always have thoughts where I would be like, I should go apologize, or I should go and try to reach out to this person. And by then, the same narcissistic people or family, they'll just ignore your calls. They'll just ignore your messages. They'll even discard, discard you. Like basically, they realize that you know who they are. So to them, it's like, I'm not gonna get nothing from it. I won't even respond to you. So they won't even respond to you. So it was times like when I was with the narcissist where I would think to myself, I miss just having my family. So I would tell the narcissist, what if I talk to everyone and try to get everyone together on the same page? And the narcissist would just be like, don't even do it. Don't even say shit. They don't give a fuck. Right? So the narcissists will give you advice based off of how they feel. They're very good at reading other people. They could tell you what other people that think like them, how they might feel if you reverse Hoover and approach them. Because if the person hasn't took accountability and now you're reaching out trying to make things right, trying to forgive them and trying to be the bigger person, it doesn't matter because they don't want to apologize to you. Or else they would have already reached out to you. They would have already tried to change things, right? So that's how you know they haven't changed. If you look up, if you see them on social media and stuff, you'll see that they're waking up, they're talking about positive vibes, they're putting Bible scriptures, they're out there doing the works of the Lord, but they treated you completely different. So this is why they'll tell you, only you see me that way. Not everyone sees me that way, because they don't do that to everybody. A narcissist is simply someone who uses you to put their emotional baggage on. Where the empath, you don't get fulfilled from putting the baggage on someone and then just walking out like, you didn't do nothing for me. What are you talking about? The narcissist never even knew you. Let's be real. They just thought they knew you. They really didn't know you. And you never really knew them. And that's why they don't change, because they feel like they feel like you don't even exist. Like, they know you were there, they know you were in their life, but to them it's like they'll put you so far back in their mind that to them it's like they feel like it's just part of their past. They feel like they shouldn't have to pay for it because they're changing, they're evolving. They evolve through you, through your sacrifices for them, through your empathy, and then they act like what you offered them was nothing. The energy you gave them, the reassurance, the closure, the stability, all those things that you gave them, they didn't appreciate those things. Those things don't have value to the narcissist, right? So they'll go out, they'll start preaching to people, they'll start giving good advice to their friends. They'll tell people they came from an abusive household, and sometimes it's not even that they came from an abusive household. They're just mad that they didn't get to live the life they wanted to live. That's all it is. Sometimes their parents weren't abusive. You just didn't have the parents that you wanted. That's it. Or you just wanted them to be more loving, right? So, like I said, once I saw the look in my family's eyes and how they looked at me and how they were all in on it, lying on me like that, I didn't want to be around those people anymore, because now I'm thinking about all the times they fucking played me and I forgave them. I'm thinking about boot camp. I'm thinking about my whole childhood. Like, I'm let shit slide for a long time. I'm thinking about everything. I'm thinking about, like, bitch, you ain't never gave me no affection, no love, no nothing, but all in my business all the time. Putting shit in people's ears about me, saying things that aren't true. Telling people, oh, she's gonna end up pregnant at a young age. Saying weird shit. Like, you know, my body count. Calling me a prostitute when I've only been with the narcissist for a whole decade, over a decade, with only one man, and you're calling me Mary Magdalene because you can't control me, right? Because you feel like I was making the wrong choices. And I also feel like it's fucked up a lot of times, even with parents who they have children because they say, oh, I'm gonna have a kid because I want my kid to be better than me, or I want to have a kid because I want someone to love me unconditionally. It's like, that's not, to me, that's narcissistic, because you just don't know how your kids are ever gonna be. And this is why certain people, when their kids just don't end up the way they expect them to, they still love them. You might think, oh, they're enabling them, right? But with my cousin, guess what? When he didn't live up to their expectations, and he tried to go back to them and try to play me, but then he didn't live up to their expectations, or he started to see that they were treating him different and he was sick of it because they had been doing it for a long time. Because, see, I went back and I saw the difference, and I just never went back. He went back and there was a shift, but he still stuck around for a long time, and he became an enabler to all of them. And then he started to see nobody really gave a fuck about what he goes through. So now he's calling people out. He's calling people out that are doing the same things, crossing his boundaries after he's told them to stop crossing his boundaries. Now he's mad at his cousins. Now he's mad at everyone for playing him, for saying things, making jokes about him. Now, you know, now he's seeing it. And when I left, I wasn't even mad. I was kind of like, I wasn't even mad that he didn't talk to me, because I felt like, oh, you're gonna be next on the fucking hit list. I already knew it. That's the thing about the empath. You already know shit, and you be trying to tell these people, and they think they're smarter, they know more, they don't respect you. They don't respect all the times you done forgave them and let stuff slide because you didn't say nothing. You didn't say nothing, but you saw it coming. You see everybody's shit coming. You're like, I see everybody that is playing me right now. I see how your shit's gonna play out. You were focused on me while all that stuff, while you got your own narcissist in your life, you playing a narcissist in my life. That's why I said you don't know who is a narcissist, because guess what? While you playing a narcissist with me in my life, someone's playing a narcissist with you. And I was watching it, and I was like, this shit crazy. That's when I knew you gotta forgive people, because they don't even know what they be doing. That shit is crazy. They're so consumed. And some men are more aware of it than women, and then that's why a lot of women get played, because they're not even aware of these things. They don't even see when there's a shift happening. They don't even listen to their intuition. So you see all this shit happening for people judging, and you see how their shit coming. You about to get a divorce. You already see everything crumbling. I'm like, this nigga make you, this motherfucker right here, he's making you sick. Excuse me. This person's making you sick. I know, because that's what the narcissist did to me. I'm like, bitch, you got cancer. He got you sick because that's what the narcissist did to me. I'm going through shit too. And you're only consumed with your shit because you feel like your illnesses are, you're in a worse situation than me, right? But I can feel your pain. I'm understanding. But these people are cold. They're so consumed with themselves, their lives, the narcissist people, and they're like, they can't see past that, and you can't even really blame them, because You're in your reality. So what happens with a lot of people is that they start trying to live and force themselves into other people's realities. They're consumed. The narcissists, they're consumed with their phones. They try to be something that they're not. They're faking it to make it. Okay, you could fake it to make it, but you got to know the difference between who you are and who you're trying to be. Don't just try to go and be something, try to get credit to be something and you ain't did nothing for it. That's weird. You trying to steal people's identities, you trying to steal people's energy, you're trying to destroy other people's realities because you hate your reality. So I had to find peace with my reality, right? Because I know without finding peace in my own reality, I can't make it out of this. I can't break any generational curses, right? I also had to forgive my cousin. I'm like, I had his back when he didn't want to go to that church. I was like, fuck this church, fuck all these people in this church. I was going hard for my cousin, right? I'm like, my cousin's depressed, want to die. Like, I'm mad. I feel bad for him. But I forgave him too because I felt like if it wasn't for me having his back and me bringing my family to that church, I probably would have never had that type of connection with my siblings because we were really connected at that time and I wouldn't have had those memories. So part of me is thankful for those memories. So that's why I had to find it in me to forgive him. But it's crazy because when he popped back into my life out of nowhere, he's like, I want to come to your house, talk to you. And he's telling me all this shit about his mom. And I'm like, I've been out of the family for years. You know what I'm saying? Like, my healing is different from his healing because he's trying to seek answers. He still ain't figured it out that everyone for themselves, that everyone is nothing but, everyone's a cellmate. Everyone's a cellmate. Yeah, you got mom, dad, siblings, but guess what? Y'all all in prison. So if one person go down, the other people are like, oh, you know, my parent just committed murder. I don't want to be associated with them because people hate him so much. They're going to hate me. So I got to separate myself. Right? And that parent might have never did nothing to you. You didn't even know they had a double life. But you feel like this person's a monster. But that narcissist feels like I wasn't a monster to you. Right? So narcissists do stuff to people and then they pick and choose who they treat nice. And certain people don't look, that persona that they had of them is gone and they look at them for the animalistic side of them. And that's why the narcissists, they get enraged, right? That's why their image means a lot to them. And this is why a lot of times they won't change because they need to keep an image to the people around them. They're more concerned with the image, what it looks like, instead of what it is. That's why they won't change, because they're consumed with that, because they don't want to give people from the past, they don't want to give nobody satisfaction. You become their motivation. Just like you become, narcissistic people become your motivation to want to get out of your circumstances. They become motivated too by you because they're like, I know you expect all these, because they feel like shit. So they're like, I know you're probably happy because you know I'm going through this. You know, they think you are laughing at them and really you be feeling sorry for these people even after the fact. But in their mind, they got to keep trying to prove a point. It's weird. So even with that cousin, he comes, he talks to me. I knew what stage of his healing what was, but I also felt like I had to tell him the truth, even though it was the truth was gonna be hard. He had some questions for me. I know he was expecting me to lie, but I told him the truth because I wanted to teach him, like, telling the truth. Those are showing real, when somebody's telling you the truth, those are real emotions. I'm trying to tell him, hey, when you went to that church, you left me and my family. You never talked to us again. Now you're going through something. You pop it up by my house. It's weird. You popping up in my house. Like, my whole family been destroyed. I've been doing this on my own. I don't talk to since the church days, I don't talk to my family. I should be mad at you. I shouldn't even be talking to you because you never even looked out, called me, said nothing to me. But I'm sitting here opening the door, inviting you into my home, cooking dinner, and then because I'm giving you advice, I know you're hurt, but I'm telling you some real shit. And when you tell these people some real shit, they get mad. And then they start acting like this motherfucker jumped up at me in my face, pointing his finger, mad because I was talking about forgiveness, and I could see the demons. His demons he was fighting demons. I seen it in his eyes. And I told him, I said, do you think I would go to your house and yell at you and get emotional and yell at you because you want me to agree with everything you're saying because you're in pain? But when you're in pain, you can't even think clear all the way. So you have to be aware of that enough to know that you can't take things personal. Just like you can't take things personal with your mother. I can't take it personal. I've forgiven her. How could you forgive her? And trust me, she's still out to get you. Da, 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 da. I don't care. Because I'm done with these narcissists. Because I don't care. That's what they want. They want energy. They want to keep soaking your energy. They've already soaked so much energy out of me. I don't even have room in my life to argue with anyone. Like, I barely like to talk. I only when I do feel like talking and speaking my mind, I just come on here and just tell y'all how I'm feeling about. It's not that I'm feeling these things or these things impact me or hurt me, but I'm saying these things because I could feel the energy, and the energy is the narcissist getting karma, but they still haven't changed. That people think, oh, they're getting their karma. I know they are. I could feel it. Yeah, I could feel it. I've seen it, actually. I've seen it. I'm seeing my aunt, the one I was wiping her tears, her son don't want to fuck with her. And she feels like I've done everything. Like, I worked hard. You know, he don't even talk to me. She keeps going to his house, knocking on his door, leaving notes on his garage door. He don't talk to her. You know what I'm saying? Just like they took me away from my parent and didn't give me no love and just was constantly trying to discipline me and do things. And it's like, who's gonna want to be loving and who's gonna want to listen to someone who's controlling them and dominating them with freaking physical abuse, you know? So, and mental abuse, like, I can't, you know, that's gonna make you want to rebel more. Who's gonna want to be around people that they don't love you just because you don't go to church or you're gay or you don't believe in certain things? Like, that's not real love. This is why when you see certain people who enable narcissists, those people really love the narcissist, and they might feel like they didn't do enough, or they, you know, they might fault themselves for it. But there are certain people who their parents, it's like they just can't see where you're coming from. They can't relate, or they have a hard time with their kid. That the son is calling them a narcissist. She's calling her son a narcissist. There's a disconnection, right? There's families fighting each other. Everyone's fighting each other. Everyone's going through karma. Everyone's fighting their own demons. That's what's happening, is everyone's fighting their own demons, and they keep saying stuff to make themselves feel good. You know? So that happened. My aunt that you know, told me, oh, you know, I wouldn't hire you at the bank because you have a little tattoo here. And, you know, she didn't talk to her daughters that way. And look, her son don't like her. She got her karma, and she got fired from the bank for stealing. I told you guys she got caught stealing, and she was getting all these bonuses and shit, going to Hawaii and stuff. And after working for the bank for so many years and having her daughters work at the bank too, guess what? Her daughter got fired too, right along with her. They booted them bitches out. They got their karma, and I'm talking about these things. The things that they did to me was when I was younger, and it really affected me a lot when I was younger. And as I'm older now, yeah, it's still kind of hurtful, but it's not like I've made peace with my life. Basically, I've made peace with my reality, because it's my reality. It's no one else's. No one's gonna do anything, or no one's gonna help me just for no reason, So I don't compare my reality to others anymore, or wish I had other things, or wish I had my family back, or whatever the case. All that is just wishful thinking for me now, but I used to think these people will never get their karma. They got money, they got big houses, they got, businesses, the nicest everything. Commercial? No? Okay. But yeah, she got fired from the bank. She's telling me I can't work at the bank. Meanwhile, she got her daughter's jobs at the bank. And meanwhile, I never even wanted to work at the bank. It's just someone approached me about it. Like, they wanted to give me an opportunity. And she made me go back on that opportunity because of what she said. And as a kid, that really affected me. So I feel like that was... You don't say stuff like that to kids, because then it makes you feel like you're not capable of anything. If I can't work at the bank, I'm not capable of anything, right? So it got me through a depression at a young age of my life, and it affected me. And then when I got around other people they weren't even family, they brought life into me, and they were thinking about bigger and better things for me. And when I accomplished certain things, they were jealous. I remember going to my family's house for the holiday and sharing, my news with them about a job that I got. And they were like, how did you get that job? What did you apply? Where did you go to apply? What test did you have to take? How did you have to score? How high was the score supposed to be? They just like going on, and you could tell they weren't happy, because it's like, if you're happy with someone, you're gonna congratulate them, you're gonna be excited. They were just questioning how much you're gonna get paid. They just like surprised, because it's better than what they're doing, and they're older than me. Right? You're telling me I can't work at a bank, girl, but you came out here as an immigrant with no papers, and you're telling me that's from here I can't work. To me, when I look back, this shit is crazy, for real. So yeah, that happened. They got their karma. My aunt, that was going through chemo and lied on me and said I hit her when I didn't. Her husband divorced her, and she went crazy. My aunt that helped put me in boot camp with my other aunt, and who, she's gonna end up pregnant at a young age. They used to gossip about me and all these things, and acting like I'm just like for the streets because I'm with someone and I'm not married or whatever. Her daughter started going in and out of jail. Her daughter's really, really beautiful, by the way, but she started putting tattoos on her face of her boyfriend. Started, acting like, what's that girl named? Krishan Rock. Started getting on her Krishan Rock out here. And it's like, you said all these nasty things about me, trying to portray this image about what you think I am, because based off of my upbringing, but that's not even who I am. Like, like my environment isn't who I am, basically. You know what I'm saying? I'm smarter than that. And guess what? Your daughter came from a very good environment, and she out here in these streets that I don't want to be in. like that's wild to me. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen all these people get their karma, but they haven't changed, because what they do is that now they try to do nice things for others to compensate from what they've done to others, and they don't want to bring up the past. They don't want to talk about. You ever see, like, if you try to bring up the past to narcissists, they get mad, they get enraged. Sometimes you can't process certain things at a young age, so maybe later on when you get older, you start telling your parents, oh, this affect, they don't want to hear that shit. That's not love. So when my cousin came to us, you know, I felt like, you're coming to us because you feel like no one else is going to listen to you, and no one else is going to show you love. You know what I'm saying? Your own mother didn't want to show you love and hear you out. Or, you know that I'm the type of person that I'm not going to judge you on your sexuality. I'm not going to judge you on, you know, religion or any of these things, right? I'm going to keep fucking with you. Your own mother stopped fucking with you based off of you going to church. Just like your own mother, when my cousin was dating outside of her race, she told her daughter, if you keep dating this person, I'm not fucking with you. And her daughter literally stopped dating that person. And guess what? Now your daughter's older and she's single as fuck. And she's beautiful, but she's single. Like, she been single. And guess what? That person she was with was literally taking her on trips. They were jumping out of airplanes. They were doing all kind of things. But she left because she cared about your opinion as her mother. She was afraid of losing her family because she sees how she knows how our family is. So you got cousins and people that even if we want to get along, we can't get along because our parents can't even get along with each other because our parents are competing. So now it makes our cousins and everybody else feel like we competing too. It's like the Hunger Games. This shit crazy. I'm telling you, it's crazy. They don't change. It's the Hunger Games. And then you got certain cousins that they know their parents is racist. They know their parents is and they get rid of their friends. They change up their whole act. They go back to what they know and what they're used to because they feel like life is going to be better this way for me. It's the Hunger Games. Don't take it personal. It's just better for me in my reality. Yeah, I know your reality, but because they don't know your reality and can't understand your reality, they couldn't even, if you were to switch places, they wouldn't be able to manage. They wouldn't be able to manage. Because they already sold you out because they showed you what they're capable of with strangers. So imagine how they feel about me. If that's how you talk to your kid, imagine how you feel about me and our family. That should make me feel awkward. It made me feel like, oh, is that part of it too? I'm not one of you guys completely. You know what I'm saying? So, they don't change. They don't change. If you bring up what they've done to their kids, if you say, oh, you made your daughter break up because of this, you don't talk about my kid. That's what they're going to hit you with. Don't talk about my kid. They're crazy, I'm telling you. They don't change. They don't want to take account of. You can't say nothing about them. They've got their stories made up, created, their reality. But one thing that you'll notice about narcissists too, let me tell you something. If you were to agree to have a conversation with them in front of people, they're afraid of that. They don't want to confront you face to face with the truth. They're afraid. And if they were to confront you face to face, these motherfuckers are so cunning that they will lie. Whatever stories they made up, they'll say, they'll repeat that story right in front of you and look you in your eyes and lie. They don't change. They'll literally look you in your eyes and tell you their version of what happened. And if you try to put your input and you try to say something, it's just gonna end up being an argument. And then they're gonna try to make you look crazy, and they're gonna cry, or they're gonna leave, and they're gonna act like you raised their blood pressure, and they're gonna be like, see, this is why I didn't want to talk about it. They're gonna act like you're the narcissist. Straight up, they're gonna act like you're the narcissist. It's kind of crazy because narcissistic people, they view empaths as narcissists when the empath is just trying to figure everything out. They view you that way. They don't respect you because you can't see through them. When you're just expecting them to be who they present themselves to be, and who it seems like they are. You know. So, like I said, people around you, they all play a role, but the difference is that, like I said, you can see deeper into why they did what they did. And like I said, sometimes they even can see these things. And you might be, a lot of times you become a sacrifice to the narcissist people around you, your friends and family, because they become better because of you. And I know it's messed up because you're like, what the fuck does that have to do with me? But you also become a better person. The problem is that the empath always feels like you lost more, and you feel like you went through more pain trying to forgive these people, where, you know, you feel like they don't feel my pain. But trust me, narcissists, they hurt too. You know, they hurt too. It's just that they're more consumed with their own pain. They feel like they're so consumed with their own pain, they're incapable of focusing or caring about other people. Because they also feel like most people only care about themselves. A lot of times when you expect certain things from narcissists, they feel like you're expecting too much of them. You're expecting them to be a savior, and they don't like that type of responsibility. You know, they don't want to feel like you need them to save you from yourself. And a lot of times it doesn't start off that way with you, and later on it changes because they build insecurities in you, and then the narcissist feels like, well, this is the real you. If you don't got it together, if I can manipulate you, then this is the real you. That means someone else could have done this game that I ran on you. So in their mind, they didn't do nothing wrong. They feel like someone failed you. They feel like you failed yourself. They feel like, you know, they're a big fish in a small pond. And they got you, and they feel like, to them, it's like teaching you a lesson. Anytime a narcissist exploits you, even the Jezebel spirit, there's a lot of times they feel like they saw something in you, or you did something wrong that made you a target to them. You meeting them online, you might think, oh, I met them online. They might feel like, a lot of people meet each other online. You might be dealing with a narcissist who feels like they're going to exploit you just because you gave them the time of day online, and they're predators. They might exploit you because they think they might think you're young and naive, and you think you're mature, you think you're in control, you think you got everything figured out, you think you know how people think, you think that everyone is just judging you and your decisions, and you don't see no truth in what people say, but they know you're blinded. They pay attention to your family, your upbringing, and they'll find all those reasons to exploit you. And, you know, and they won't change. You know, I've seen narcissists who, like, I have a cousin who does real estate, and she sells houses, and she was living in a big mansion, and the guy she was messing with, she needed to do something basically, and what happened is that the guy ended up taking this money from a private account that she had, and that was the reason she divorced him. They were married only for a while, and then he stole a whole bunch of money from her, and she divorced him. And years later, he came back and he apologized, and I heard he looked worn out, you know. I've seen narcissists, like I said, who even came from my, they came from the past and apologized to me, but they didn't change, meaning that I could have befriended them, forgave them, I could have gave them the time of day and tried to see if maybe we could be friends again. And then I got to know them all over again and realize I didn't really like them. And I didn't like them because I could see that they still hadn't really changed. Like, they were still ego-driven and manipulative, right? So it's not easy, for these people to change. They go from periods of going to the past, and then they kind of numb it out. This is why a lot of times they get into risky behaviors, alcohol, drugs, whatever, because they're in and out of consciousness. They don't want to accept reality. They want to live in the fairy tale world, and this is why a lot of times you'll see that they're making bad choices, because reality is too scary for them. They have to create their own reality to keep pulling through. So the narcissists, they haven't changed. If they were to come back, if they were to hoover you, I'm telling you, I always, before I end the video, like I said, my grandmother is 90 years old. When my grandfather died in his 70s, my grandmother's first boyfriend, who she said was a narcissist, and that's why she married my grandpa, hoovered her. How do you find... That means that he kept track with her close relatives that she don't even live with because they live in another country. So it's like he's keeping up with her family in that other country and somehow got your number, called you, and is talking about rekindling a relationship that they had when they was kids, when they was young. Just because his wife died and my grandfather died, and my grandmother's looking like, I don't want no one around me. I want peace. I want quiet. I had to raise 7 kids. I built a whole life. Her and my grandfather were married for a very long time until he passed away. She's looking like, I don't got no energy for no old ass man that is a stranger but is a familiar spirit. I don't have time for that. The narcissist will even go back to sources years later or reach out, and a lot of times it's because things didn't end up the way they expected them to. And that's just it. And that's why a lot of them, you won't see a lot of change in them. They can change their hairstyle, they can change their clothes, but that void, abandonment problems, anger issues, just being able to manipulate, it gets to them, especially when they start to see that people are projecting the same behaviors that they showed you. So just like they'll rather go treat other people well, a lot of times those people that they're attracted to are the opposite of who you are as a person. the opposite of your morals and what you stand up for. And because of that, the narcissist can see through these people. They can see when people are trying to, when they see when the red flags come up, but because they think they're so great, they think no one's gonna get over on me because I'm so great. And when they do, you know, they just won't take accountability. They'll act like nothing. You know, so I hope you guys enjoyed this topic on how the narcissist has not changed. They're still blaming you. They're still pointing the fingers at you. They're still victimizing themselves. They're still telling themselves lies, telling themselves stories. They're still gossiping. They're still greedy ass people. They're still envious. They're still jealous. They're still competitive. They are still without remorse. So I'm sending you guys lots of love, light, peace, and your healing. If you guys enjoyed this, do not forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. And especially if you guys are new to my channel, and if you guys want to support my channel by booking a session with me, my booking information will be on the description. Just give me 24 hours to respond, and I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Love you guys. Bye.